how to increase your long run so that you're able to go from running 5Ks and 10K races to running a marathon. Now, it's a big question that I get asked all the time. And what we want to do is to get towards that marathon so that we can enjoy the day. We can race the marathon and go for a time that we'll probably have in our heads, as opposed to just trying to survive the distance. It's going to be way more enjoyable if you prepare and plan the training session, do the training, and get there and enjoy the day, because a marathon is one of the most wonderful experiences you could possibly be involved in. So you need to first of all look at how we can get there safely. So to look at how we can get there safely and stay out of trouble, we want to look at the reverse and reverse engineer it. So what are the quickest ways you can get injured? Quickest ways to get injured is too much overall volume too quickly, too much pace, too much speed too quickly, too much long run too quickly, or too much of a longer run too quickly, too many hills too quickly, very similar to speed but working on different muscles, and too much of a different surface too different. So if you're used to running on the trails all the time and all of a sudden you start training for a road marathon, you're going to feel that in your calf, you're going to feel that in your muscles, your calves, and so everything needs to be gradual. Equally, if you've always run on the road and all of a sudden you're going to train towards a technical trail marathon or a technical trail ultramarathon, you're going to have a problem because your legs are not moving in exactly, the muscles are not working in exactly the same way as they will on the road. So the key is everything has to be gradual. If you think about hills, if you're going to insert hills and all of a sudden you've never run hills, you live in a flat place, all of a sudden you start to do something on the treadmill at an incline, there's going to be new muscles that you need to develop there first, and therefore a lot of slower paced intervals that are going to feel as if it's too slow and too easy. But what you're doing is you're building up the muscles that will then, once you start to increase the pace and increase the duration of those hills, they're going to come in really handy and you're going to be able to take that load. It's all about stretching the elastic band, but not stretching it too far so that it snaps, stretching it to a point where you will receive that super compensation, and the next time you go out and do that hill session or that speed session or that long run, the body is able to take it on and absorb it and complete it because it's ready to do that. It's as simple as that. So how do we increase the long run? Now, first of all, we need to look, what is our background? So if you've been running 5K and 10K races, the chances are that you started to get really interested in running, and that's brilliant. And you've probably been involved in some kind of structure. But if you're coming from a place where you're just going out and running 4 or 5 times a week, or 3 or 4 times a week, and you just go out there and run, and then you join in for a 5K race or a 10K race, and now you're gonna, in order to run the marathon, you're going to have to input some structure, then it's got to be gradual. So it's really important that we see where we're at the moment so we can move forward as effectively as possible. So if your point at the moment is you have some structure, and Wednesday, as I always say on this channel, Wednesday is your interval session, and that's where you're improving your speed. And then Sunday, these days are well spaced apart for good reason so that you can absorb that training and recover in between. Sunday is your long run, and that's when we're focusing on building our endurance and building our stamina. And both of those sessions feed really nicely into each other. You're going to focus right now on building gradually that long run and how to do it. The interval session I'll talk about on another video. So let's say you've been doing 10Ks and you've got some structure in place. So your long run has got up to 14K. So you can go out and run a long run. How fast should you do it? Now, the key is, without going into the lab and testing your lactate threshold and looking at your zones and getting too technical, the key with the long run is you want to be able to hold parts of a conversation. If you're running with a buddy, if you're running in a group, you want to be able to run at an effort level where you feel as if you can still hold a conversation, you're not completely out of breath, your heart rate's not through the roof, it's at a sustainable level that you can hold for, at the moment, the 14K, and we're going to increase that gradually. So that's the pace you want to run at. Obviously, it's a long run, so if you go out too quick, you're not going to be able to hold that pace, or you're going to overtrain. As I said before, that's one of the quickest ways to getting injured, and you don't want that. You want this progression towards your race day, you want it to be as smooth as possible. And training is never smooth. There's always going to be curveball, and it's part of the discipline of distance running that you're going to have to navigate those curveballs or hit them out of the park, yeah? So the key to, once you've got the effort level down and you know what you're doing, then you've got to increase gradually. So from 14K, I would run 14K on that first Sunday, and that's in your training plan. So you're not doing anything different to what you have been already. But you've put a line in the sand that I'm starting this, I've decided that I'm doing a marathon in 3 months' time, and that's a good amount of time to get properly ready for it. Then the next Sunday is 16K. The next Sunday after that is 18K. And the next Sunday after that is 20K. So within 3 to 4 weeks, you've improved or increased the distance by 6K. That's a big percentage increase. So what you want to do on the 4th week, so 14, 16, 18, 20, on the 4th week, bring it back. So bring it back to 14K. And what that does, along with scaling back your interval session, so your overall total volume will contract as well, what that's going to do is allow your body to absorb the training that it's just been through in that cycle of 4 weeks, and then be ready the next week to go again. So then we're going to start on 22K. We're going to do 22K on the following Sunday, then 24K, then 26K, then we're going to scale it back again to 20K. So you're not going all the way back to 14K, you're doing 20K, 22K, 24K, 26K, and then back to 20K. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get back where we left off, and we're going to do 28K. So 28K on that Sunday, 30K, 32K, and then bring it back. Yeah, and it's about bringing it back to that level. I'll put a diagram on the screen so that you can see what you're actually doing. I'll put it in the description, the plan there. That should be within 12 to 13 weeks that you're getting to that distance. Now, if you're currently doing 10Ks and 5Ks, and you've got some kind of consistency going, you've been running for a little while, even if that's less than a year, you've got some kind of consistency and you want to do this marathon, you've decided and you know you're going to be disciplined about it, then 13 weeks, you can get ready for that. You can get ready to run a marathon and not just survive the marathon, but actually race the marathon, race for your time. You can do that within 3 months. It's not a problem. If you feel that you're currently not fit, then don't start week 1 and week 2 and try to get fit within the training program. The training program of 3 months, really important this, the training program of 3 months is to get ready specifically for that marathon. So it's not to try to get in shape and get fit and then try to execute and get to a point where you can comfortably run the pace that you're aiming for, comfortably run the long runs and get the distance in, comfortably run the speed you're trying to do in the intervals, and then get the recovery runs and easy runs right as well. And they're slow enough so that your body is recovering well enough to hit the long run well and to hit the interval session hard. If you're trying to do all that from a point where you don't currently feel fit, you're going to run into problems. And you don't want that, because you don't want to associate running, especially training for something as beautiful as the marathon, you don't want to associate that with pain. And pain will come and it will show up in the form of an injury sooner or later if you're not prepared. So to go into it, that self-assessment initially is really important. Where am I at the moment? When was the last time I did a 10K race? What is the longest I can run right now? When was my last long run? If that's more than 3-4 weeks ago, maybe you want to get fit first, and that's going to take you 2 to 4 weeks if it's been a little while, and maybe a little bit more than that. It might take you up to 6 weeks to get fit first and then go into the training program. But the key with everything, as I started the video, is gradual. So if you gradually increase the long run, but then pull it back every 4th week, so the body can say, okay, great, got through that cycle and I'm ready to go again. Then those jumps are not too big. And it's only 2K, so it feels very, very similar to the week before. So you've done the 14K, like, okay, right, no worries, I understand that, and I've also nailed it. So I can hold a conversation whilst I'm running. 16K, actually it doesn't feel much different. Exactly the same with the 18K. And so if you move forward like that, it just becomes the fact that you're doing it, you're staying consistent. Every Sunday is the long run. Every Wednesday is the interval session. You will feel the benefits of that interval session coming into the long run. But don't overdo it. Don't try to run too quick. Remember, you can hold a conversation whilst you're running. Good luck. And if you've got any questions at all, let me know in the comments below and hit that notification bell.